メジャー翻訳速報。佐々木朗希投手がドジャースのキャンプで打者と対戦しました。ライブ BP でのスプリットの変化に捕手陣も驚きの声を上げ、チームメイトやコーチ陣も集まって見守る中での投球となりました。このチャンネルでは現地メディアの反応を日本語翻訳でお届けいたします。この動画が面白いと思っていただけたらチャンネル登録、高評価よろしくお願いします。
Welcome you inside our Sportsnet LA studios, joined tonight by Jerry Hairston Jr. Once again, Tim Cates with us from AM 570, host of Dodger Talk. This is the final show that we're going to do for a really long time, where we're not talking about a game that was just played, Jerry. No highlights until probably prep day before game one of the NLDS. It's going to be that long.
There isn't a test at the end, is it? No. Okay, good, because I didn't really like shock exams. I wasn't good at that, but I am anxious to get some baseball games underway. Tomorrow is the day.
Yeah, it feels like we're the only three guys not watching Sasaki pitch today in Arizona.
Well, and speaking of that guy, because the big news from camp in Arizona today was Roki Sasaki taking the mound to face hitters in live BP for the first time this spring. As expected, it wasn't just a big deal for the media and the fans at Camelback Ranch, but all of his teammates, for the most part, gathered around to watch as well. Sasaki threw 2 innings, gave up 2 line drive base hits, had a couple strikeouts. Afterwards, Roki discussed taking that next step in his transition to the major leagues.
Roki, to take part in your first live BP today. First, how did it feel just to be out there? Obviously, a lot of eyes were on you. So how do you feel it went?
今日初めてのライブ BP になりましたけど、今日投げてみて、気持ちだったり、全体的に感想を聞かせてください。
そうですね、最初だったので、こう感覚というか確かめながらになったんですけど、ブルペンの感覚、今までこう、踏んできたブルペンの感覚よりも、予想してたよりは、いい状態で投げれたかなと思います。
Obviously, because it was my first time, I was feeling out how things would go, but I did feel that today went better than I'd felt in my bullpens leading up to today.
Your next step will be in Cactus League games. What is the focus for you when it comes to just getting your feel and getting ready for the regular season?
Just looking over the things that didn't go well today, reviewing the data, reviewing the video, and working to improve those things.
What did you feel better about today compared to your bullpens?
Just overall, my velocity was better, and having hitters in the box, even though I threw a decent amount of balls, I felt that my command was sort of where I was generally aiming for.
During the recruitment process, you kind of were curious to see what teams would say about you getting your velocity back. What's the progress been like in trying to get that velocity back to where it was before last year?
Just improvements to my delivery. I think my sort of training regimen is the same, and I can't really talk about specifics, but just improvements to my delivery.
When the whole organization, your teammates, fans come out to watch you, does that give you nerves, or is it exciting to take them out of those?
There are more players behind the plate than I thought, but I wasn't really nervous. I was just a little surprised to see that many of them there.
And Shohei and Yoshinobu have gone through this process before. How helpful it is to have them kind of by your side and helping you transition to your first year at Big League Camp?
From the first day of camp, they've been really helpful in guiding me through all the things that I don't know about. And as games start, I think there'll be more and more of those things that I don't know about. And so being able to talk to them about those things will be really helpful.
There's going to be a lot of people watching today, obviously, anticipation. I think it'll be good for him to, see how his stuff plays against our hitters. It's a good step for him. It's not going to kind of really make or break anything. I just think it's just a good opportunity for him to kind of get a different experience.
How much do you think Roki needs to pitch in order to get ready for the Cubs in Tokyo?
A handful of starts before, Tokyo, and we'll just see how it goes. But I think with Roki, we're still learning. We really are. And I don't think, as he gets on a routine, a regimen, we're learning more each day, each week. And I do think we got to give him some kind of be able to read and react a little bit with him.
What can we really expect from him as a rookie just this year, and sort of obviously understanding that there's a lot of depth and talented arms behind him and in front of him?
I think that we should be able to expect him to fill up the strike zone, go as hard as he can for as long as he can, to learn from each outing, and after that, everything else will take care of itself.
Obviously, the event was quite the spectacle. Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic tweeting out this photo saying the entire Dodgers organization is catching a glimpse of Roki Sasaki's live BP, or at least it seems like it. And it was the next big step in Roki's progression today, throwing that live BP. It's not a game situation, Jerry, but how important was it for today for Sasaki and his progression, because he might be considered to start game 2 in Japan?
Yeah, obviously it's important because he needs to get some innings under his belt. Listen, there is nerves. I don't care who you are. This kid is a young man. Yes, he's pitched in big games before in Japan. He pitched in the WBC for Japan, but this is the big leagues, facing some big league hitters and all those guys behind the cage watching him. He knows all eyes are on him, not just here in camp, but the cameras back at home watching his every pitch, his delivery. But the most important thing I think he understands is getting with the coaching staff, making sure there is a buildup happening. 2 innings here, maybe another simulated game, and then gets a start in camp and start building innings and be ready for Japan.
It was interesting to hear Dave Roberts say that we're still trying to figure him out. He's trying to figure us out. It's like when you get a new car. You like it, it's shiny, it's got all the new bells and whistles. You're still trying to figure it out. You may hit the wrong buttons a couple of times, but I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to get on the same page with Roki, and goes from bullpen session to live BP. Next step, Camelback Ranch pitching in a spring training game.
Yeah, and 2 years younger than Yoshinobu Yamamoto when he came over, and Yamamoto was a 3-time MVP already in Japan, and Roki not quite as decorated in terms of all those awards. Now, Sasaki, he faced 3 MLB veterans, David Bodie, the former Chicago Cub, a pair of former NLCS MVPs in Tommy Edman, and also Eddie Rosario, the former Brave. Jerry, obviously it's not game action, but what can Roki take away from facing big league hitters for the first time today?
Well, I think a little bit of feedback. Obviously, the big leaguers are trying to get their footing, obviously seeing pitches as well, but Tommy Edman can kind of tell the pitching coaches, obviously Roki himself through the translator, what he's seeing. You know, is he showing his ball too early? You know, as hitters, I want to see the ball right away out of the pitcher's hand. When a pitcher is hiding it, it's so much more difficult for the hitter to pick it up, and the ball is on you. Is this split, has that late life, late dart out of the zone? Does his fastball have life? So there's a lot of information passing back and forth between the hitter and Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, communication going back and forth amongst the hitters, the pitchers, the coaching staff as well. I think back to last year in Yamamoto getting the start in Korea, and the Padres kind of getting after him early, and there was a kind of like, all right, welcome to the big leagues moment. Was he tipping pitches? Was it his mechanics? This is that opportunity where they can get eyes on him. The hitters, as you said, Jerry, can get eyes on him. What are we seeing? Is he tipping anything off? Is he doing something that's not natural that we can help him out with as hitters?
Here's another thing, too. And we're always doing this. I remember playing with Zach Greinke. We played together with Milwaukee. Now with the Dodgers, my last season, he would throw changeups to lefties all the time, rarely to the righties. I go, bro, why don't you throw the change to the righties? He grabbed me after our live BP, went in the bullpen, and just concentrated on throwing that changeup to righties with myself. Even veterans can learn and try to get better. So obviously, Roki, it's a process. He's going to get there.
Well, we mentioned Tommy Edman being one of the guys who faced Roki Sasaki today, and Edman got a base hit off of the Phenom. Here is the NLCS MVP on his first experience seeing Roki from the batter's box.
Yeah, it was good, you know. I was excited to get in there and kind of see what all his pitches moved like, and you know, got a good fastball, obviously, everybody knows about, and I was curious to see what his splitter did, and, you know, it's got a lot of movement, a lot of action on it. But, yeah, no, his stuff looks really good, and I know it's going to play at this level for sure.
You could kind of maybe compare it to something that player you've seen, similarities. Is there anything you can kind of point to?
Just off the top of my head, it's not like – it's kind of a like – the splitter to me just seemed like it was one of those that kind of has a lot of action on it, a lot of deviation from the fastball, you know what I mean? So like the fastball obviously got some ride and run, and then the splitter has a lot of depth off of that. So I think that's why those two play so well off each other.
How does that fastball feel just standing in against it?
Yeah, it was good. You know, he's obviously a tall dude, gets some good extension down the mound, and you know, got some good life, especially when it's up in the zone. You know, it definitely has some carry on it. So, you know, it's a good fastball.
You ever seen many people behind home plate for a live BP before?
Yeah, and I've also never seen this many people standing around to hear me talk about a live BP. But yeah, no, it was yeah, definitely a fun environment, and I know everybody was excited to watch it, and I'm excited to play behind him in some games this year.
And it was Tommy Edman as well as the former Cub David Bodie who got the 2 base hits off of Roki Sasaki. Edman's not going to be facing Roki, Jerry, in any real game. So from a hitter's standpoint, what are they trying to get out of a live BP session?
It's all about rhythm and timing for hitters. You're trying to see the ball, making sure you have your timing, because Cactus League games, we just mentioned it, it's going to be tomorrow. So you want to see as many pitches. For me, I want everything. And I would tell the catcher, show me everything. I'll get 3 or 4 or 5 pitches. Give me his fastball, his split, his breaking ball. I want to see it all. And I'm going to take a lot of pitches because I want to see the ball deep in the zone. And then also, if I'm facing a Roki Sasaki, I want to make sure as a veteran guy, I'm able to see everything so I can help him, because he's making that transition from obviously Japan to now the big league. So any which way I can help him, I'm going to help the young guy.
Tommy Edman mentioned it. I think the split finger is the pitch that everybody was trying to get eyes on today. Fastball is one thing, but that split finger is his go-to pitch, and it's been talked about for the last 3 years over in Japan. They wanted to see what it looked like, what the depth was all about. How real is it?
Yeah, Will Smith today said it was fun to catch, and when Austin Barnes caught his first bullpen, he said it's difficult to catch that. That's how much movement his splitter does have. Now, just one more sleep until the Dodgers take the field for Cactus League play. Tomorrow at noon, the Dodgers facing the Chicago Cubs. You can watch every Cactus League game right here on Sportsnet LA. March 18th and 19th, wheels up to Japan for that Tokyo series, also against the Cubs. Then it's back to Southern California, March 23rd, the annual Freeway Series with the Angels. March 27th is the home opener against AL Cy Young Award winner Tarek Skubal and those Detroit Tigers. Not only will Yoshinobu Yamamoto start the regular season opener in Japan against the Cubs, Dave Roberts announced today that Yoshi's going to start tomorrow's Cactus League opener also against the Cubs. Tim, spring games, we know they're not a very big deal, but it'll be fun to see Yoshi back out there tomorrow.
Yeah, a little surprised that this is going to be a Cubs team that they see over in Tokyo. Why get the start tomorrow if you're going to see them in a month and they get a chance to get a couple at-bats or at least 2 innings against him? He won't be out there for very long, but certainly the brass is a lot smarter than I am, and they're certainly got this mapped out. They know when he needs to pitch and start ramping him up in order to get ready for that late March game in Tokyo.
And you got to remember, when it's a Cactus League game, usually it's not the first 9 guys that are starting. So it'll probably be 3 or 4 starters that the Cubs are going to throw out there. It's going to be one at-bat. Really, hitters can't really take away from one at-bat, so the advantage still goes to Yamamoto. The most important thing is he's getting his work in, so be ready for that opening night in Japan.
And maybe he won't use his entire arsenal tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. Leave something in that mystery bank for later on. Still ahead on Access, umpires have been calling balls and strikes for more than 150 years, and people have complained about calls ever since then. This spring, it's step 1 in giving the umpires some help behind the plates. Plus, my spring conversation with the World Series MVP, how he stayed motivated during a challenging season, and how that Grand Slam truly changed his life.
Schwarb's there. He's in favor of him.
Certainly is. I think a lot of players will be, but it'll probably be mixed reactions across the board. We'll find out this spring. Now, earlier we heard from Tommy Edman facing Roki Sasaki. That wasn't all Edman talked about today. Here's more from the NLCS MVP on the eve of Cactus League play.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we had obviously an amazing year last year and added even more talent. So we're excited to see what we can do, to see what we can accomplish. And, as talented as we are, we still got to go out there and play the games and compete. So it's exciting that our first game's tomorrow, and ready to get right back to it.
You're a utility guy. How do you manage just prioritizing kind of where your focus is just kind of as you head into this season?
Yeah, I always just try to make sure I'm staying fresh at whatever position. Like today, I took ground balls at second, ground balls at short, and then shagged a few in center field. So, the lighter days, I'll probably focus on one position, and if I'm trying to get a lot of defensive work, I'll try to mix a couple in there. Once season starts, I'll probably just stick to one per day. Definitely got to make sure I'm getting reps from both sides. Hitting right-handed is the key, because you don't see as many left-handed pitchers. So if I feel like I'm not getting enough at-bats right-handed, I'll make sure I get in the get in the cages, do some high velo machine, maybe do some traject. So that's the nice thing with having that, is you can kind of simulate at-bats without having to actually play in a game and get those at-bats in a game. So, there's ways to make sure I'm getting all the reps, both right-handed and left-handed.
Have they told you how much infield you're going to play this spring?
What infield position?
No, how much infield you're going to play this spring, as opposed to maybe playing a lot of center?
Yeah, I think it sounds like I'll be playing more infield than outfield, but I'll be still mixing in at both spots.
Well, we expect to see Tommy Edman mostly in center field, but also some time in the infield, second base, maybe shortstop as well, Jerry. For the utility guys, and the Dodgers have quite a few of these, is there more to their preparation during spring training because they've got so many different positions?
Yeah, I mean, you want to get your work in a variety of positions. Guys like a Tommy Edman plays center field and shortstop. Communication. Manager Dave Roberts will tell Tommy, hey, tomorrow you're going to be playing shortstop. Probably the next day you're going to be in center field. After that, you're going to get the day off. So what he would do, prepare for himself playing shortstop, and the very next day prepare himself playing center field. These guys know exactly what they need to do. Tommy's been doing it for a long time. Mookie Betts, now he's going to be the everyday shortstop, but he's done it as well. So guys like CT3, Kike Hernandez, they know exactly what they need to do. If you don't feel great on the infield, you're going to really concentrate for a couple days. And you might even tell your manager, hey, you know what? Give me some reps at shortstop. That way I can really get my feet going, and then I can go to the outfield.
I think it's more important right now than it has been in the last few years for the Dodgers, for the reason that Mookie Betts is at shortstop. You've got 4 different Dodgers that can play second base. Who's going to win the job? We don't know. But you think about the guys that can platoon all around and play second base as well. He's got to get used to that. The feet at second base for double plays, where they're going to line up, positioning, where he likes to throw. All that kind of stuff needs to be worked on now.
It is amazing. And listen, especially nowadays, back in the day when I played John in the 50s and 60s, you can get killed turning a 2 because there were no rules. They come right after you and take you out. Now you have to slide right in the bag, so it's not as taxing. If you're the second baseman, hey, just get it to me to the bag because the guy's going to slide in. He didn't have to take me out. So it's easier nowadays for a second baseman. I'm definitely that old head complaining now.
Yeah, we'll tell all those young kids out there to Google Hal McRae sliding into second base back in the day because taking guys out. For 5 games in October, the World Series MVP looked like Superman. The first walk-off grand slam in series history. A home run in each of the first 4 games of the Fall Classic, and in only 5 games, he drove in 12 runs, tying the World Series record set 64 years ago, which was accomplished in 7 games. He did all of that on an ankle that would have sidelined most mortals and with broken rib cartilage. Let's get connected with Freddie Freeman. Well, even people like Nomar or fans out there, when they heard after the World Series, oh, he was dealing with torn rib cartilage.
Yeah.
And then he needed surgery on his ankle. How on earth did you perform at that level? How did you perform at all, given all that you were going through?
Yeah, I don't know. I just talked about it. It's when you have Doc and the organization who care so much about you and pour so much into you, you'll do anything you can to try and perform and get out there on the field. And you care about your teammates, you love them very much. So I was in a spot where I thought I could push through it, so that's what I did. Obviously, I had a lot of help going on and a lot of people trying to get me onto that field, but you just care about the organization, the jersey, the fans, and you just want to do everything you can to be out on that field. And I had a lot going on, a lot of injuries, and sometimes I played good. The NLCS, I was really bad, but you just try and do the best you can with what you're given, and I made the most of, at the end.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you had a lot of motivating factors, but I was also thinking after the fact, I wonder if in some ways you were drawing strength from Max when you saw everything he went through and the courage that he showed and the strength that he showed day to day.
Yeah, I mean, again, Max is doing really good right now. We got a birthday party tonight for him. He turned 4 yesterday, but he's doing really well. And I think when I first came back, I did that press conference and said I would gladly strike out 300-something million times over and over again, Game 7. And for that moment to actually happen 3 months later, and then the complete opposite happens. Obviously, I would never try and compare baseball to seeing your son on a ventilator and fighting for his life. But seeing how much he fought and his recovery, I tried to not compare those things, but when you think about it and just, you learn so much without even trying to learn, and just watching him do that, I think, yeah, I probably did draw some strength from him.
Obviously, when you have the World Series performance you did, the walk-off game 1, and then the 4 straight games with a home run, World Series MVP, it's not going to change you as a person and who you are, but is it life-changing? And has it been life-changing in certain ways for you, whether it's just out and around?
Definitely, that's the big one. I don't think I make it through a day. I had to get blood draw for our physical this morning. They were talking about the Grand Slam as I was giving my blood this morning. So, yeah, I don't think I've made it through a whole day without someone coming up to me or talking about it. And I think that's what's so cool about sports and baseball and in general, the memories that you can create for people and the lifelong memories, it's special. And for me to be able to come through in that moment, something that you dream about as your kids in the backyard, and to actually happen, yeah, it's not going to change me, but it is special to me that I was able to create such wonderful memories for people that are going to be talking about it for a long time.
They will be talking about it, and they'll also be feeling it for a long time. And I know this firsthand because I was fortunate enough as a teenager to be at Dodger Stadium Game 1 in 1988 when Kirk Gibson hit the walk-off. And still, every time, I'm not kidding you, every time I see that clip of that highlight to this day, it gives me chills. There's going to be people just like me 30, 40 years from now who are going to remember your home run, some who were there, even who weren't there. And they're going to get chills every time they see that. And that's the kind of joy and the feelings that you've brought to millions of people.
Yeah. And I think that's hard for, that's incredible, but it's still hard for me to understand that, you know, with it only being 4 months ago. But I do understand because I've been hearing about, I was there at this point. They come up to me and tell me I was sitting here on this part of the couch, and then I'm seeing tattoos of me on people, and I'm like,
that's weird.
But that's what it meant to so many people, and I think that's what's incredible about sports. It's not just baseball and us. There's so many sports that can do this, and I think that's what's so special. Just to be able to be a part of it, and to have that moment for so many people, I'm just glad to be a part of it.
We've heard Andrew Friedman talk about it, Dave Roberts as well. They really want this to be the golden era of Dodger baseball, and if they can, build some sort of a dynasty. You guys just won a World Series, and then you show up back here in Arizona, and you look around that clubhouse, like, oh my gosh, look at all these guys we added to that team from last year.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great to be a part of an organization that cares so much about winning year in and year out. And I like to look at it a little differently. We have 50,000+ people come out to us and see us play every single night. They spend their hard-earned money to come watch us play. And for that money to come back into the team and put it back into players to come out, I think that's what's so special. I think that's why LA is so connected, from ownership to fans to front office to players, because it feels like everyone's together, because you spend the hard-earned money and they'll put it right back into the team to create more memories and try to win more championships. And it is amazing what they did last year of bringing Shohei Yoshi, trading for Tyler, Teo, doing all this, and then to go out and get Blake, Michael Conforto, re-sign pretty much everybody that was a free agent on our team. Because it's special to be a part of a group that wants to go out there and try and win every single year. And now it's on us because they did a great job. And now it's on us to go out there and try and do this.
The reality is Freddie Freeman was already on his way to being a Hall of Famer heading to Cooperstown, but with that one swing, Tim, in Game 1 of the World Series, and then the rest of that entire World Series, he just cemented his legacy as one of the all-time great Dodgers and a true legend in this franchise history.
No doubt about it. You talk about signature moments in Guy's career, and certainly winning a World Series in Atlanta was a big moment for him. And coming to the Dodgers just kind of felt like he didn't have that moment yet, but certainly this is going to be one of the biggest moments in Dodger history. And to hear his conversation right there, John, which was great, how humbled he is about people recognizing him and people so emotional about his grand slam and what it meant to them. Kirk Gibson can't go anywhere without being mentioned with that home run, and certainly Freddie Freeman when it's all said and done. And I don't think he understands quite right now, 4 months later, where it's at, but certainly someday it'll set in.
It'll set in when his career is over. I mean, he understands the magnitude of that home run, but not just that home run. He continued his barrage in that World Series. Trust me, I know a lot of Yankee fans hate Freddie Freeman. They respect him. They respect him, but they hate what he did to them. And really rightfully so. He was locked in that World Series. And for him and for us, how lucky are Dodger fans, this Dodger organization, who Freddie Freeman fell in our laps. I remember doing shows in the offseason. He was sitting in free agency and nobody wanted him. I'm like, what are you seeing here? Because I played against him. I saw exactly what he brought to the table. Great leadership, a champion, tireless worker, and a guy you want as a cornerstone of your franchise. And you know what? Dodgers said, okay, we'll take him. Okay, so listen, we are so fortunate to not only get his production, but his leadership. And he was the right man, right spot at that opportunity. And he could have said, you know, I can't play anymore. I'm hurt. I went through so much with my son. My family's been so much. I'm dealing with this rib. My ankle's killing me. I'm going to bow out. I'm hurting the team. No, not the Freemans. Even his dad, who is as tough as nails, said, you know what, maybe it's time you sit out. He went, no, Dad, don't you know who we are as a family? He stuck with it, and he was rewarded with the World Series MVP. So, I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. That's why you stay with it. Yeah. That's why you work hard. So I'm so glad we have him, and kids can look up to a guy like Freddie Freeman.
Over as the everyday shortstop, his infield mate Freddie Freeman recovering from offseason ankle surgery. We won't see Shohei Ohtani on the mound in Cactus League play, but he will continue his rehab and return to the pitching mound sometime around the month of May. Roki Sasaki will pitch in the Cactus League, as well as Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and Bobby Miller, all vying for a spot in that rotation. It is time now to play a round of What's My Line? You see the old game show graphic over there. I'm going to give these guys a subject, and they're going to tell me what the number will be. That is the line. The first one, Roki Sasaki, the top prospect in all of baseball. His career ERA in Japan, Tim, was 2.02. What is the line for his ERA in his rookie season?
I don't think he's going to have that success in his first year. I'm going to say 2.89 ERA in his first year. It is still very good. 2.35, he wrapped up his Japanese career last year, 2.89.
Wow, that is... You know what? I will take that. I'm going higher than that. I think it's going to be under 4. Remember, he is not as polished as Yoshi it was coming over here. Okay, he's got electric stuff. The big thing is, can he have that third pitch to go along with the split and fastball? I'm going to say 3.5. That will be his ERA.
And Yoshi was right at exactly an ERA of 3 in his rookie year. Two-time Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell averaged 9 wins over the last 3 seasons. Jerry on a much better team this year. What is his line for a win total in 2025?
I think he wins 18 games. Wow. That is the number, 18. The offense, he's going to take advantage of that. That offense is going to score a lot of runs for him.
Only twice in his career, double-digit wins in a season. I think this is year 3 in his career, 15 wins.
Pretty much wins Cy Young every time he does that. We did not see Shohei Ohtani on the mound at all last season. We do expect him back in May, Tim. So what's his line for pitching starts, the number of starts this year?
I'm going to go with 14, 3 of which will come in September, and he'll be primed and ready to go for October.
That's really good right there. I'm going in the teens. I think he makes 17 starts, making sure he is fresh for that postseason.
Next one, Freddie Freeman. He wants to be on the field for every out of every game. Before last season, he had missed a total of 7 games in 4 years. Now he's coming off ankle surgery at the age of 85. Or 85, he's only 35. What's the line, Jerry, for games played for Freddie Freeman, even as an 85-year-old, probably play every day?
I am going with 159. He's going to be upset at me. But remember, you're going to need some off days, especially with that ankle and the other injuries.
I looked at his stat line of his career. I think 3 times he's played 147 games.
Yeah.
That's kind of rare to fall in that number 3 different times. Let's make it 4. 147 games.
Well, he's not going to like you at all.
Well, the Dodgers, they won 98 games last season. Their Vegas number this year, 105. Jerry, we know it's about October wins, but play along here. What's the Dodgers line for wins in the regular season?
I think they win 115.
One shy of the all-time record. You don't want him to get that 116.
No.
150. I'm going to go with 104 wins this year. 104.
I'm going to go right in between. 108, 109, somewhere in that range for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Up next, some final thoughts as we look ahead. Cactus League play gets underway tomorrow. First of 20 games in Arizona. The Dodgers hosting the Chicago Cubs at noon. As usual, every Cactus League game can be seen right here on Sportsnet LA. And then join us for post-game highlights and reaction on Access. Always fun to see the regulars get out there, get some at-bats, throw some pitches like Yoshi, and then the prospects getting their chance to shine at camp as well. It's Cactus League play beginning tomorrow. So here we go. Only 26 days until opening day in Japan. Jerry, I don't know where the time has gone, but what is the goal of all the players at Cactus League play?
Most important thing, stay healthy. You know, obviously for hitters, get your timing, getting ready for that start in Japan. For the pitchers, like a Yoshi, making sure he's got enough innings under his belt to make that first start there in Japan. So listen, fine-tuning, and also for the young guys, this is your chance to really show out.
For the stars, put them in bubble wrap, stay healthy to get to Tokyo. Guys like Pages, Outman, Bobby Miller, Dustin May, we got to see something out of them in spring.
It's going to be fun to watch. Yoshi getting the ball, and he's going to be getting the ball game 1 of the regular season in Japan. And Tim, and you're going to be out in Arizona this weekend as well, but not checking out any Dodger baseball. You've got some other family stuff to be taken care of.
Yeah, I'll be watching lacrosse games, not baseball games this weekend.
I'll tell you what, you can watch the game on your phone,
Okay.
right? And then obviously at your daughter's lacrosse game. Oh, great job, honey.
Yeah,
and then right back to the game. Okay?
Good idea.
Yeah. Homer Simpson, it worked out for him back in the day. Good.
I'm just glad we're done. For Kirsten, Jerry, and Tim, I'm John. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, live baseball. Dodgers and Cubs right here on Sportsnet LA. First pitch at noon. Then we'll be here for postgame. Enjoy.
メジャー翻訳速報。いよいよ明日からカクタスリーグが始まりますね。佐々木朗希選手の投球には多くの注目が集まっていました。スプリットの切れ味は素晴らしく、打者たちも驚いていたようです。山本由伸投手は日本での開幕戦に向けて着々と調整を進めています。ドジャースは若手から主力まで層の厚さを感じましたが、まずは選手たちが怪我なく東京までたどり着けることを願っています。皆さんも明日からのカクタスリーグの試合をぜひ一緒に楽しみましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。